Hello everyone, welcome back. This video is all about the introduction to genetic engineering. We can also call it as rDNA technology. Here R stands for recombinant DNA technology. So if you observe the term recombination means nothing but we are going to combine two different genes. And those genes could be from the different sources. For example, if you take a diabetic patient where the blood glucose levels will be more in that particular patient, right? Because they can't make sufficient amount of hormone insulin. In that case, what we do, if we want to produce sufficient amount of insulin hormone, we can isolate a specific gene that codes for the hormone insulin. And when we incorporate this gene into a vector, say for example this is a vector, we can take plasmids as a vector. So here vectors are nothing but the cloning vehicles. In process of cloning, what we do, we are going to make a multiple copies of gene, right? If I want to treat that diabetic patient by injecting insulin hormone, so first I need to produce that insulin hormone in sufficient amount, right? So for that case, what I need to do, I need to first identify the gene that codes for the hormone insulin. Now I need to produce multiple copies of this gene, which we call it as cloning. So by using this step of cloning, we are going to make a multiple copies of this gene, and this gene especially codes for the hormone insulin. Now what we do, we are going to introduce this gene into a vector. Now our intention is to make a multiple copies of this gene because this gene codes for the hormone insulin, right? Now what I do is I am going to introduce this gene of interest into this vector. Now this is one gene and this is another gene. What I am going to do now, I am going to combine these two genes that we simply call it as a rDNA molecule or recombinant DNA molecule. Hope you are clear. Here I am combining the two genes, right? So this is one gene which codes for the hormone insulin, and this is the plasmids which I isolated from a bacterial source, and this gene is from the any other source, from any animal or from a human being, right? So now I am going to combine these two genes from the two different sources. That is nothing but a recombination. So here in this genetic engineering technology, we are going to produce recombinant DNA molecules. So any gene of our interest can be introduced into a particular vector, and this vector is to be introduced into a host organism to make a multiple copies of that gene. So if we have a multiple copies of the gene, we are going to get huge amount of that particular product. For example, this gene may code for human growth hormone, this gene may code for the insulin. First we need to choose gene of our interest, and then we proceed with the cloning to make a multiple copies of that gene. So once we introduce it into a host organism, that transformed cell is then introduced into a fermenter. So at the end of the fermentation, we are going to get the product. This is how we create a recombinant DNA molecule with the help of genetic engineering. Generally, this process of recombination occurs in nature. For example, if you take a bacteriophage, right? So what is meant by a bacteriophage? Viruses that infect the bacteria are called as bacteriophages. For example, this is a bacterial cell, right? So whenever this bacterial cell is infected with a bacteriophage, what the bacteriophage is going to do? It is going to introduce the genetic material into the bacterial cell, right? So when this genetic material undergo replication, transcription and translation, it is going to produce more viral progeny, and those viral progeny are going to come out of the bacterial cell, which are going to infect the another bacterial cell. Generally this is the life cycle of a bacteriophage. So remember here, as this genetic material got incorporated into the bacterial cell, even the bacteria will be having a DNA, right? So sometimes this viral genetic material gets integrated with the bacterial chromosome. I'll give you with the other color for the better understanding. See, this is the genetic material from the virus, and this is the genetic material of a bacterial cell. So if this genetic material got incorporated with the bacterial cell, we call it as a recombination, right? So here there is a combination of two different genes. So one of the genetic material is from the virus, that is one source, and the other genetic material is from the bacterial source. So here the genetic material is from the two different sources, and there is a combination of two different genes. So we simply call it as a recombination. Now the bacterial cell which has taken up the genetic material from the virus may get additional properties. So here the bacteria may get an antibiotic resistance due to the incorporation of the genes that are from the virus. So this is a natural phenomena. Based on this natural phenomena, scientists has developed certain methods in a laboratory where they are going to carry out the genetic manipulation of an organism. For example, if you take this as a genetic material of a particular organism, now what the scientists do, they are going to remove certain portion of the gene and they are going to incorporate the gene from the other source. So this is the gene of interest. By introducing the certain genes of interest, scientists are able to manipulate the genetic information of an organism. Hope you are clear with the recombinant DNA technology. So by using this technology, it is possible to cure certain genetic disorders, and it is possible to produce transgenic animals so that we can enhance the meat and the milk production, whereas it is also possible to produce transgenic plants. By using this technology, we can improve the growth rate and the productivity of certain plants, as well as we can make certain crops resistant to insects and pests, and we can also make crops resistant to diseases. There are many applications. I'll give you a few more examples. Like I already told you that using this technology we can cure certain genetic disorders. For example, if you take SID, severe combined immunodeficiency syndrome. So in this case, people who suffer from SID are not capable of producing an enzyme called adenosine deaminase. If we isolate a gene that codes for this enzyme adenosine deaminase and we incorporate this gene into a particular person, we can correct SID, which is a genetic disorder. And I'll give you one more example. By using this technology, we can introduce NIF genes into several crops like wheat, rice, barley, corn, etc. So what is the role of this NIF gene? These NIF genes are the bacterial genes which are capable of converting the atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia, right? So see here, these NIF genes are from the bacterial source and we are going to incorporate these genes into a plant source. Now the plant will acquire that property where they are capable of converting the atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. You might have heard about sickle cell anemia, right? So we can even correct this deadly disease if we incorporate the genes that codes for beta globulin subunit of hemoglobin. We can treat sickle cell anemia because people who are suffering with sickle cell anemia will have a defective gene that codes for the beta globulin subunit of hemoglobin. If we can incorporate a active gene in place of this defective gene where it is capable of producing this beta globulin subunit of hemoglobin, so that we can correct the disorder of sickle cell anemia. Hope you are clear what is meant by recombination. So here we are going to combine two different genes. We can use this technology to cure genetic disorders where the defective gene is replaced with the correct gene, right? So this concept of genetic engineering technology is based on the enzymes that are involved in cutting the DNA, joining the DNA, and once we make a recombinant DNA molecule with the help of those enzymes, we are now going to introduce it into a host cell where it undergoes the replication, giving rise to a multiple copies of the gene. So here the restriction enzymes are used as cutting enzymes and ligases were used as joining enzymes. I'll tell you in detail when we talk about the restriction enzymes. So now what you need to understand is that with the help of recombinant DNA technology, we are going to combine two different genes so that we are going to make a recombinant DNA molecule. So our gene of interest, we can simply call it as DNA of interest. So that DNA which is isolated from our different sources based on our interest, and when we express that gene, we are going to get product out of it. Hope you are clear with the recombination, right? Why do we need to produce a recombinant DNA molecule? So this recombinant DNA molecules are produced with one of the following three objectives. The first objective is to obtain large number of copies of specific DNA fragments. As I told you just now, if we are interested in any gene that may code for a useful protein, now what we need to do? We need to make a multiple copies of that gene. So for that reason we need to choose a vector, and then we are going to introduce this gene into a vector. See, we are going to open the vector with the help of restriction enzymes, and then this gene is to be introduced, right? So the adjacent DNA fragments are joined together with the help of enzyme ligase, and then we go for the cloning process where we are going to get multiple copies of the gene. And the other objective is to recover large quantities of protein produced by the concerned gene. Say for example, this gene is coding for the hormone insulin, right? So after the generation of a recombinant DNA molecule, we are going to introduce this rDNA molecule into a host cell. For example, we take E. coli, right? And this transformed E. coli cells are then introduced into a fermenter. So where we are going to provide all the nutritional sources that favor the growth of E. coli. Once at the end of the fermentation, we are going to get that particular hormone from those genes. So that is what I told you, to recover large quantities of protein by that concerned gene. And the other important objective is to integrate the gene with a chromosome of a target organism. Just now I gave you example how we cure genetic disorders. We are going to replace the defective gene with the correct gene, so that we are going to make that gene express, and we are going to correct particular genetic disorder in that patient. This recombinant DNA technology was developed by Paul Berg, Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen in the year 1970. The entire procedure of recombinant DNA technology is classified into 5 steps. Let us now discuss them in detail. These are the 5 important steps. So the first step is the identification and the isolation of the desired gene. We can also call it as gene of interest or DNA of interest. So the gene which is to be cloned is called as DNA of interest. How we can get that desired gene? We can use cDNA libraries, we can use genomic libraries, or we can use a PCR where you are going to amplify the gene, right? So amplification is nothing but making a multiple copies of the gene, right? So we can choose a specific gene from this genomic or cDNA libraries. Or for suppose if you have isolated DNA from a bacterial source, now you want to isolate specific gene of interest. What you are going to do? You are going to treat it with restriction enzymes. These are the enzymes which will cut the DNA at a specific nucleotide sequence. Now after digestion with the restriction enzymes, you are going to get a multiple fragments of DNA, and from this multiple fragments you are going to pick gene of interest, and this gene of interest is then introduced into a suitable vector. So the second step is insertion of isolated gene into a suitable vector. You can use plasmids as a vector, or you can use lambda phages as vectors. Vectors are nothing but the cloning vehicles, right? Here our intention is to make multiple copies of the gene, right? These vectors are used as a cloning vehicles. See here, you have treated with the restriction enzyme and you have isolated the gene. Now you are ready with the gene. Now you want to proceed with the cloning step, right? So for that you need to make a recombinant DNA molecule where you are going to choose a vector and again you are going to cut this vector with the help of restriction enzymes. So these restriction enzymes are nothing but the DNA cutting enzymes. Now you are going to open this vector and now you are going to introduce this gene of interest. Now this is a recombinant DNA molecule. Of course, again here you are going to use another enzyme called ligase. Ligase is going to join this adjacent DNA fragments. Now it's a complete recombinant DNA molecule. This vector is carrying a foreign gene and this is the gene of our interest, right? So the third step is introduction of this vector into a suitable organism or cell called host. Now we choose a specific host. For example, we have taken E. coli as a host, right? Remember here, we are not going to directly introduce the vector into a host. First, we need to generate a recombinant DNA molecule by introducing a foreign gene of our interest. Once we create a recombinant DNA molecule, then this vector is to be introduced into a host. This step is called as transformation, right? So this recombinant DNA molecule is taken up by the host cell. That we are calling it as transformation. In the fourth step, we are going to select the transformed host cells. Some cells may not take up this recombinant DNA molecule. Now we are going to differentiate the transformed cells from the non-transformed cells. Here we need only transformed cells because these transformed cells are the only cells that are carrying the recombinant DNA molecule. If they doesn't take up this recombinant DNA molecule, we don't say that the transformation has taken place, right? So in the next step, it is mandatory to select the transformed host cells. And the final step is the multiplication followed by the expression of the introduced gene into the host. So now these transformed cells, that means the E. coli cells which has taken up the recombinant DNA molecule, are then introduced into a fermenter. At the end of the fermentation, we are going to get the product. This is how we carry out the procedure. With the help of this recombinant DNA technology only, we are able to produce vaccines and we are able to produce antibodies. We are able to produce many hormones like insulin, human growth hormone, and we can also produce blood clotting factors. We are able to produce a specific plant species that are resistant to diseases, that are resistant to insect, pests, etc. This is the beauty of this technique. Hope it is clear. Soon I'll come up with the next video. Thank you so much.